Houthis have shot a missile in the international airport in Israel.
The Houthis in Yemen have claimed responsibility for a missile attack that struck inside the perimeter of Ben Gurion Airport in central Israel. According to initial reports, at least 2 people were hurt. Flights were briefly suspended but have now resumed. The Israeli military says it is investigating why air defense systems failed to intercept the missile. The country's defense minister has threatened a forceful response.
Now, a lot of people are saying for the first time the Houthis have been able to reach Israel. In fact, that's not true, okay? We need to be honest with each other here. The Houthis have been shooting hypersonic missiles into Israel for a while now. This is not the first missile that hit Israel. The only reason why you're not hearing about it is because they still own the news.
The Israeli military says it has failed to intercept a missile launched from Yemen. So as you see, the missile there exploded. This was near a public park in Tel Aviv. Medical sources say at least 14 people have been lightly injured. The Houthis have repeatedly launched missiles towards Israel since the war in Gaza began.
Well, this is not the first time a projectile launched by the Houthis was actually able to avoid any sort of Israeli aerial defenses. In fact, this is the 3rd incident of its kind just this week. We saw a similar incident on Monday, just 2 days ago, and now early this morning. The Israeli authorities say they're looking into why this was not intercepted. But from the moment the sirens went off to the moment of impact, authorities say it was just about 1 minute. So they're trying to look into why those air defenses were not activated earlier. Remember that throughout the course of this war, the Houthis have launched more than 200 missiles and more than 170 drones.
The Western media is making sure that people don't hear about the missiles that are going into Israel. It has been causing a lot of damages. The only reason why they are saying something about it because it couldn't be hidden. This really affected many other companies that come to Israel. So it was very difficult for anyone to hide this one. Flights had to be canceled. So imagine yourself, they're canceling your flight. What are they going to say they're canceling your flight for? This is why you heard about this. But in reality, the Houthis have been successfully penetrating the Iron Dome, which is the missile defense system of Israel. They have been able to do that. It's been a while now that they've been doing that. In fact, this is one of the major reasons why the Trump administration decided they wanted to get involved in this conflict by bombing the Houthis the same way that Biden used to do. One thing that the West is dealing with is 2 things here, right? We have to mention 2 things. The very first thing, of course, the fact that they cannot stop these hypersonic weapons from penetrating in Israel. Not only that they cannot stop the hypersonic weapons, but who are we talking about here? The Houthis. They cannot stop them from shooting these weapons. The problem here is, number one, the distance from Israel to Yemen is far away. And second is that it is not the state of Yemen itself that is doing the shooting. It is a group of militants, the Houthis, who are, of course, very popular. They're the one successfully doing this. It is very difficult to go to Yemen, where there are mountains and desert and all of that, in a very poor country, to try to go fetch them. It's extremely difficult for them. So we're talking about a situation where they are unable to stop them. That is the very first thing they have to deal with. The second thing they have to deal with is the embarrassment. Now, we're talking about what? They've been telling us for years that this is the most powerful country on earth. Israel has the most powerful intelligence after the U.S., the Mossad, I think. Yeah, they can dismantle of almost everything if they wanted to. However, this so-called power has not worked in Yemen around the Houthis. And that's where the embarrassment is that they cannot stop them. They're not able. If you see the amount of mistakes that the U.S. has committed in the Red Sea just to fight the Houthis, is unprecedented for a superpower. The embarrassment here is that it is a small group, what they consider small group, the Houthis, who are bringing down an elephant, right? The US, this major superpower of the world. Look at who is just, making them, just look completely powerless. The worst part is that when you come out and you tell people, look, I'm harder and I'm going to do harder the way that Trump is talking about, I'm going to hit even harder. And no one sees anything. But you're talking about embarrassment. He's going to be even more embarrassed than Biden was, because Biden was talking tough, but he was talking tough at the level of other presidents. Now, when Trump comes out, he always wants to show that he's the toughest one among all of them. Then, while he's trying to show that he's tough and I'm hitting the Hooties really hard, the very first thing is that nobody's hearing any fighters of the Houthis dying. All we hear about are the civilians. And then the second thing is that all of a sudden a missile was shot to the airport of Israel. Thank God it didn't hit the entire airport. I mean, many people would have died. But that comes to show you that there's no security around that place. Nothing, that the people who come there are not secure. That's the reality. Now, some people are saying, well, why the Houthis are doing this? Well, the reason why they're doing this is that they're saying that Israel needs to stop the genocide in Gaza. They're killing civilians in Gaza. They're taking their lands. Doing anything you can do to those people. And the Houthis are saying, we are supporting the Palestinian people. Now, why is it that Trump are, shooting at the Houthis? They're saying that, well, that's because they're stopping shipment from, going about their business and all of that. They say specifically that they're stopping Israel and every countries that stand with Israel. They're not going to tell you that the Houthis are saying stop killing the Palestinians so that we can stop shooting. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that we're only shooting at cargo shipments that stands for or belong to Israel. They're also not going to tell you that. They're saying, oh, well, they're disrupting international shipment. No, they're not. We have to be honest with each other on that. They've made it very specifically that if you are not standing with Israel, which is committing genocide in Palestine, then you're free to go about your business. We haven't heard the Chinese complain. We haven't heard anybody else that is not, right? The Indians, or you name them. None of them are complaining. The only people who are complaining here are either the US, the British, and everybody else in the West that is supporting Israel. Those are the ones complaining. They want to make it seem like this is a problem for everyone. It's not. We have to understand one thing here, okay? When we think we are too strong, and we've been exposing our strength to the rest of the world, specifically those who are weak, for many, many years, there will be a time where a force will come. An unexpected force will come and stop us. We have to understand one thing. Everyone has someone to answer to. There are forces out there, even if you remove China and Russia. There are other forces out there that the US knows very well that they cannot play with. So there are always going to be someone who will dare to be your judgment day. Israel cannot continue to commit genocide in Palestine and get away with it. It's not going to always be like this.